David Biddulph is not elected to office. He's not hold public office, or he and his wife decided we can't bear the thought that our grandchildren may have to face this profligacy, and started the Balanced Budget Amendment Task Force. It was responsible for the passage of the Balanced Budget Amendment in 16 states. This is a grandpa who took it upon himself to do something about the problems that face our nation. That's the beauty of our Constitution. It magnifies the power of one. David realized that Congress was not counting Article 5 applications and started an organization called Let Us Vote for a Balanced Budget Amendment campaign, which is largely responsible for the event that we are participating in today and all of this that's happening. I would encourage you very much. We're now going to hear from Mr. David Biddulph. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Thank you, Ken. And as David Walker said, this isn't about me. It's about nothing about anybody in this room. It's about our grandkids. And if we, the adults, don't do something about passing on the burden of debt to our grandkids, we will have failed them. So I think we're right on the cusp of moving the country towards a solution, a constitutional solution, a peaceful solution. But the absolute key, if there's anything you take away from here, is that the ratification of this amendment must be by a vote of the people. For the yes pledged delegates in 3/4 of the states, which is how the 21st Amendment was ratified. So if everything on the ballot is an R or a D, we're sunk. It has to be, do you want to slow the growth of government spending so that the government share of the pie doesn't keep growing at your expense? So a vote of the people is why we named our campaign what it is. Let us vote for a balanced budget amendment. So in 1933, 43 states passed laws, and in every single case, they were given the repeal amendment, no instructions. Congress sent it out, the repeal of prohibition, and every state had something different, but all came down to this. If you wanted to be a delegate to a state convention, you had to swear an oath that I will vote for or against ratification. And then you went out and got petition signed, and it said that. I pledge to you that I will vote for or against ratification. When they printed the ballot, it said yes over all of these people, it said no over all of these people, and the people didn't have to check each name. They could just vote no or yes. Well, the yes votes were overwhelming. And in fact, go back here. This is a good one. On December the 5th, 1933, this was the headlines in the newspaper run by the Mormon Church. And
Salt Lake Tribune is not run by.
Well, it wasn't in 33?
No.
It wasn't? Okay. So anyway.
It's been the counterculture.
Okay. All right. So Utah voters said no to grant and yes to repeal. The vote wasn't even close, 112,000 to 65,000 against. Notice they don't talk about you voted for a delegate to the convention. It just talks about a vote of the people. On December 5th of 1933, Utah legislature convened a convention to officially ratify the 21st Amendment. And I believe on that day that they pulled up the Budweiser truck because of a vote of the people, had overturned the votes of Congress and the votes of 3/4 of the state legislatures like 13 years earlier. It was, and the people that ran the campaign to repeal it ran specifically on the need and necessity to literally overturn, for the only time in our nation's history, an amendment to the Constitution. It had to be by a vote of the people. So what you're going to need to do in every state but 16 is you're going to need to write a law that will, oh, by the way, there were 44 state conventions under Article 5, over 2,000 representatives met, and not a single representative, not a single delegate to any one of those 43 conventions voted in a way that was contrary to how the vote of the people was. In other words, not a whiff of a runaway convention. And so we've had 43 conventions under Article 5, and none of them have run away. But you'll need a law. And in 16 states, those laws that they passed back in 33 are still in the books. The best one is considered to be Arizona because like our faithless delegate laws in the country, if a delegate voted contrary to what the people voted in their district, their vote was repealed, they were replaced, and their vote didn't count. So there's no way in Arizona that you could have a runaway convention that would change the will of the people. It's also interesting to note that 96% of the state convention delegates across the country were pledged to vote yes, and they did. So, so again, our whole goal is to get this thing ratified. And so we asked a question a few years back. We said, who should decide if a balanced budget amendment is added to the United States Constitution? A vote of the people or a vote of Congress? 83% of Democrats said it's a vote of the people. 83% of Republicans said it's a vote of the people. 83% of independents said it's a vote of the people. If you think I'm lying, we've got every single vote. The people, most of them said, I want my congressman and my state representative to know this. You send them my name, you can send them my address, and you tell them that I want to vote for a balanced budget amendment. So we had every name, and we took all 8,600 votes, we took it to Congress, and we never got a call back. So South Carolina is 82%. And then it becomes political. So we ask them, what do you want your state representatives and congressmen to know that to get your vote, he or she needs to vote yes on giving Americans a vote on a US balanced budget amendment? To get my vote, Democrats, 46% said, if you won't give me the vote, you don't get my vote. That's 46% of Democrats, 45% of Republicans, 44% of independents. This is an extremely powerful message to those people in Washington that are running for office and in my opinion, for state office. Get behind this movement, but be sure to inform your constituents. I want you to vote. I want you to vote for the ratification. Give me, as a state, give me the job of the details to trying to figure out what this amendment looks like, but then I want you to vote for it. And so that's, the message is, if we let the American people vote, we can fix this country. If we don't, I think we're in big trouble.